to you by Awards Unlimited. Personalised product, personalised service.
Hi, welcome back to the Overthink Tank. I'm Laurie Borle, and today we have with us again Mr. Gil Allen. He is screen and theatre artist, and if you were lucky enough to see our last episode, you'll know you're in for a great show. Gil, today we're talking about parking lot etiquette. What about it?
Well, I think important subject. Civility in a society, in culture, can be found on so many levels. One-on-one in a public place, but people get inside of their vehicles and they feel cut off and isolated from each other, and so they tend not to express the same decorum, the same behaviors. And when people get out of their vehicles, and it's been my observation that people sort of take an entitled view, because legally it is the responsibility of drivers not to drive over the pedestrians.
Who knew?
Who knew? But people treat parking lots like it's their personal property, especially when they're out of the vehicle. And they wander around like cows waiting to be milked. They go without direction. And it's a pet peeve of mine watching people in parking lots. And, there's been so many times when I have had to wait for people that are literally walking down the middle of the driving lane. Even though you're on private property, we've created spaces where all the cars are systematically parked and lined up in rows, two rows, and then we have a driving lane that goes in two directions to allow us access, and we want that to be respected. So, one should walk as close to the parked vehicle as possible, and to be more safe, one should walk on a side where you can face the oncoming vehicles so you can see them.
So you're saying they shouldn't be walking right in the middle of the parking lot?
They shouldn't be walking right in the middle, and if you've got two rows of parked cars, you definitely shouldn't be walking diagonally, just because that feels like a shortcut to you. Mm-hmm. You should stay close to the cars and use a right angle turn when you get to your vehicle to cross to your car. But I have seen people spend forever taking their sweet time to get from one place to the other. The other area is people are trying to back out. Now, the people in the driving lane technically have the right of way. That's not really covered under our current Highway Traffic Act, but the general consensus is whoever's in the driving lane has the right of way. But logically, why can't we be patient and let people back out? You're looking for a parking spot. Perhaps they're going to back out, surrender an empty one just for you.
Exactly.
Okay. And on a more serious note, even if you have the legal right of way as a pedestrian, an expression my late father used to always say is, the right of way is not necessarily the right way.
Oh, I've heard that one.
Okay, and I'm a big in agreement with that. So a few years ago, I had a full-size Toyota Tundra pickup that did not have a backup camera on it, and very difficult to see when you were backing up, to see what was directly behind you, particularly if you were parked in between two other large vehicles. So one particular occasion at a supermarket, I started to back out cautiously using my mirrors and shoulder checking and so on. And it all appeared to be very clear, but I also had vehicles on both sides of me that blocked my vision. So I had to trust that, backing straight up, I was going to be safe to do so. When suddenly I saw a brown dome right behind the tailgate of my vehicle. And it was kind of bobbing. And I hit the brakes immediately. And it turned out to be a young mom, brunette, and all I was seeing was the top of her head, as she pushed her stroller and baby right behind my truck. And had I not seen her, I would have definitely crushed the stroller, possibly taken the life of that child, and possibly even killed the mother. Now, is it my responsibility as a driver to prevent that? Yes. But when you have in excess of 2,000 pounds of steel, legal rights don't really mean anything once you hit them. And if they survive it, which is a big if, they are never going to be the same again. No.
And is it parking lot etiquette or it's parking lot safety too? Right?
Absolutely. And I think it's just, all of us need to be aware of each other. We need to be concerned for each other and about each other. And I think it's just, some simple decorum and not the attitude of, hey, I'm walking here, I can do whatever I want. It's my right, and you're not allowed to drive over me. It doesn't matter. The law really genuinely, in some cases, does not matter, because if something tragic happens, there's not going to be criminal charges. There's going to be, civil charges. And I'm not a lawyer to go into the details of it, but whoever gets hit by the vehicle loses no matter what. Even if a court system says, yeah, we find you guilty, the penalty is not going to balance the change in the individual who was struck by the vehicle. So pedestrians really have to take some responsibility on themselves and go, look, I'm in a dangerous environment. I need to be aware of that danger, and I need to react to that danger. And also to be a little bit reasonable too. Like, people are trying to come and go. And we all need to be a little patient with each other, not just walk out. Same with cars driving in the driving lane. They'll see people backing out and they'll go, oh, I'm just going to hurry past them because I don't want to wait. Well, now they're either going to slam on the brakes or you're going to run into them.
A little bit of I hate to say it, but because it's overused possibly, but a little bit of an entitlement in here. I mean, this is my personal view. I kind of feel like sometimes we're not thinking about the next person anymore, I am actually very excited when someone kind of waves me in, because you don't see that anymore. Or when you let someone in. I don't want to go on to, that can be another show that can be another 12 shows, roads, right? Road rage. But just that common courtesy. I have friends who will just drive right through a spot so that they're always able to drive out, so that they don't even have to back out. Because there's so many times when two people are backing out at the same time, or someone's right behind your car. It is so common now.
A little courtesy goes a long way. Alberta was once known as being one of the most courteous provinces for drivers. And I think we've lost that. I think, and it's just something that we can recapture with a little bit of positiveness, and and talking to young people about some of these things. One of the things I discovered was that nobody really talks to the young people that are learning and getting their driver's license about some of these courtesy things that are not part of the Highway Traffic Act and not part of the curriculum for instruction. Just the things that we all sort of intuitively knew somehow. That's my pet peeve. Parking lots, man. For today.
What we bring for today. You back for more, I'm sure. Gil, really, it's always a pleasure. But I would also like to thank our sponsor, Awards Unlimited, for having us here. You're a big part of why we can do this. So thank you so much. That is the end of this episode. That's it for us.
Thank you, Laurie.
Thank you, Gil.
Really appreciate it.